Live from Huntertown, Indiana, it's Soarin Hawk on the air. We're a real raptor rehab center. Right, Victor?
And his a couple buddies.
Yeah,
back
we got
there.
some buddies back there. There's a couple more coming in, so there's going to be some more.
More and more every week.
Yep. So today we're going to talk about peregrine falcons. So, Falcon peregrinus. Yeah, some of you folks that go downtown, you might hear these guys, calling out there. So we're going to have a long talk about peregrines today. Now, there's 19 subspecies found worldwide, around here, and so there's some of them. And we have 3 subspecies that occur in the States: the tundrus, the antuum, and the peli. Okay. And the ones that we get around here mostly are the tundrus, the wild ones. We extirpated all the peregrines that occurred east of the Mississippi back in the 1930s when we used DDT widespread, and we lost all that subspecies. So basically what we see around here is either the wild ones that come down out of the tundra, or we have others that were reintroduced from breeding stock that people had from falconers. So we get a little mixture of things. So some of the peregrines that you see around here are part peregrine and maybe part something else.
Huh.
So they may be several different things. So sometimes their appearances don't quite match, but we'll talk about that as we go along. So peregrines from North America may migrate as far south as Colombia. And in fact, we have one that was part of our group here. One of her offspring went all the way down to Costa Rica, so that's pretty close to Colombia. So at least not too far. So but basically, the original haunts of the peregrines are from along the coastal areas, the tundra areas, and up there in the Pacific Northwest and in the Rockies. So peregrines were reintroduced back to Fort Wayne in the summer of 1993, and early members of Soarin Hawk were there. Yeah. So before, when Soarin Hawk was just a gleam in somebody's eye, the Anthony Wayne Bank building, and finally moved over to the AEP building. So a peregrine falcon is a medium-sized falcon that uses speed to pursue its prey. It's the fastest animal in the world. It can attain attained speeds of up to 220 miles an hour in a swoop. And but there are falcons that are bigger: the Jeter falcons, the prairie falcons, and then there's some falcons out in the Asia, and those that are a little bit larger, sakers and things. Now, peregrine falcon is about 2 feet long. What do you think about that? And has a 3-foot wingspan and weighs about 2 pounds. And again, like I said, it's the world's fastest bird. They can go about 30 miles per hour in level flight, 200 miles an hour in a swoop. And they fold up their wings to form a diamond shape, but just like an F-35. So you see that diamond shape here. And so what that does is get the swept wing thing so that the air flows off the leading edge. And they also have the tapered on the back part of the wing. So again, the drag that's produced by the air going over the wing is dissipated very quickly. So here's an F-35 imitating a peregrine falcon. Mm-hmm. So peregrines eat small birds, eat birds as large as ducks, and they also eat small mammals, and sometimes they'll even take some fish. So I'm going to read this because I think this is really kind of nice. This is from a book by C.J. Box, Off the Grid, and apparently they're going to be bringing this on TV.
So, are they?
Yeah, with the hawks and everything.
Oh, neat.
So it's going to be up there. So there's a moment when a peregrine falcon, hundreds of feet in the sky, identifies a target below. The raptor stalls for a moment in the thermal current, draws in its wings, and gracefully does a 180 rotation to its back. Now bullet-shaped and sleekly aerodynamic, the peregrine falls through the sky, gaining more and more velocity, and its speed reaches more than 200 miles an hour. It is the fastest creature on Earth, And as it shrieks through layers of changing cross currents and atmospheres, it suddenly keeps a perfect beat on its prey by slightly shifting a wing or moving its head a degree. As it drops, the falcon's focus narrows until the target, whether an unsuspecting duck riding from a pond or a rabbit foraging for young shoots on the grass, becomes the one true thing to the exclusion of all others. As the peregrine closes in on its target at tremendous speed, its talons descend like the landing gear of an airplane on final approach. The talons are balled into fists. It is known as the state of York to falconers, and the end makes it a concussion of blood and tissue from the targets as the peregrine strikes home. And yeah, that perfectly describes it. There's nothing like going and watching peregrines going after shorebirds or ducks or anything like that. And it's just magnificent the way they can manipulate and they do things. So if you do get to go downtown and see our peregrines, you just watch them and see some of the fancy show stuff. So it's much, much better than the air show down at Bear Field, okay? So peregrines are sharp. How about that? Yeah. They're sharp. Okay, come on. Sharp. Okay. Now they have sharp vision, which you'd expect. Sharp beaks, sharp talons, sharp appearance. If this sounds familiar, yeah, all the hawks have all these things. So anyways. So peregrine vision is very special. They have the largest eyes relative to the size of the head. Oh. So they're they're highly reactive to light, and they focus very quickly. In fact, there's a program on BBC about peregrines and some tests they did with them. And these things can see its prey 2 kilometers away. So that's over a mile for you English types, okay? So again, that's very special. They have high visual acuity. So they have 2 to 8 times higher than mammals, okay, their visual acuity. They have receptors in their eyes, just like we do, rods and cones. Rods detect light, cones detect color. We humans have about 200,000 receptors per square millimeter. You can think of those as being pixels. But raptors have about 1 million receptors per square millimeter. So lots more in there, all kind of packed in there, real dense. So to us, a mouse might look like that, all fuzzy and everything. To a peregrine, it would look all detailed, all those nice little furry bits and pieces. So their eye is similar to our eye, except for the fact that they have a bony ring which holds the eye in place, so they can only look straight forward. They have a lens, they have a cornea and an iris, and of course the iris can be contracted and expanded, by the muscles so that they can control the amount of light going in. Then in the back here you have the rods and cones, okay, on the retina back here, okay, and behind that is that tapetum lucidium, and that is kind of like a reflective membrane which reflects or intensifies the light going back into the retina. This pectin right here, basically that provides oxygen and some nutrition to the inside of the eye, and then you have the optic nerve. So, the eyes are fixed in the skull, so they can only look forward. They have a visual field up to 300 degrees. So in other words, they have an area where you have stereopsis, in other words, 3-dimensional view, which is only about 70 degrees. But then you have views around the side, like a peripheral vision, which increases things. And so if it wants to see what's behind it, it has to turn its head. And just like some of the other birds we've talked about, they have more vertebrae in their neck so that they can turn that head around so they can look over their shoulder. So this is a visualization. So here's your binocular vision up here, okay? And then it's just where you get your detail. And then over here you get the scanning, and then back here you get the basic peripheral vision, just like we do, so you can detect movement and that kind of thing. So they can, just this area here is stereopsis, but they have scanning and movement detection out here on the sides. Whoops, we're back to that again. Whoops. So, whoops. What's about? Okay. They can see faster than we can, okay? We humans see images at about a rate of about 50 to 60 cycles per second. That's why all our electricity is 60 cycles, so that the lights don't blink. Otherwise, if you go to some countries I remember in some of the old days, some of the places had some very low frequency lights, and you could actually see them blinking on and off. You know, but but our lights are fixed up for 60 cycles per second. So, but they can see about 3 times faster. So they can detect very fast movements much better than we can. They can see, so basically they're seeing at 3 times the rate that we're seeing. They can detect the minimal detection of movements over 15 degrees per hour. And that basically, that's more in reference to knowing the seasonal changes, that kind of thing. They can perceive ultraviolet light, which we can't, which is important because some of the prey items leave a trail of urine behind. And as you guys know, urine fluoresces under ultraviolet light. And so by having that light shining down from the sun, it makes those paths shine up, and they can detect their prey that way. There's 2 foveas in their eyes. And one is the one fovea, which is basically where all the light is concentrated, and where the maximum detection is done. The one is for forward view, so that's for that 3-dimensional image that you're seeing. And then the other fovea is set up so it's detecting the movement from the sides. So that's and they're actually both working at the same time. But the bird can control that, or somehow mentally control that, so that only forward view is used, or both, or all 4 views are found. So you got 2 forwards, 2 sides, and I don't know what I'd do if I had that kind of a problem. Sometimes feel like that. So, when I was young and dumb, and after a few drinks, I was in that forward and side view thing. Learned my lesson that time. So they have eye protection. Okay, if you take a close look at our guy here, he has this anti-glare stripe here to help reduce the light going, reflection and stuff, so that he can see better. And also, there's a brow ridge up here above the eye, which acts like a there goes the old visor, like a visor, to block some of the eye. But it also helps to protect the eye, from anything that might strike it. They also have a nictitating membrane. Sorry, I had to use a picture of an owl because I couldn't get any peregrine to hold still. And so they had this nictitating membrane that is like a third eyelid. You have your upper eyelid, your lower eyelid, and then this nictitating membrane which slides down over the eye, protects the eye from dust, and also if it was into a battle with its prey or something like that, it would protect the eye from getting scratched. Because basically, if you lose your sight, you just can't perform anymore.
Yeah.
They have an ear hole just like we do, except proportionally, their ear hole's about 5 times bigger than ours. So that means they gather in more sounds. And I'll tell you, they can detect sounds. I had one of the peregrine babies, took it back up to the roof to put back, and it was complaining. And I don't know where Dad was, but I didn't even see him. All of a sudden I saw this dot way out on the horizon.
Wow.
And he came over to see what I was doing to his kid. So they have good sight. So you figure he's up 26 stories and nowhere in sight. And the little brat decided to complain after being treated nicely. So anyway, so they have good hearing. Okay. And again, just like the vision, they can discriminate better than we can, about 3 times better than we can. That's different sounds, and so it's important, particularly if they're hunting by ear or listening for things like crying babies. They have a beak that's sharp and strong, used for tearing. Come on. Come on. Well, that didn't work. Maybe it's going to go this time. I pushed, there it goes. Yeah. Okay, so it has this special notch there in the beak there, and that's to break neck bone. So if the prey doesn't die right away from constriction, then it can go in there and, pop that puppy. And then also, where'd he go? It has a tubercle. Okay, it's that little thing here that sticks in. And what it does is when they're in their swoop and they're going like mad, what happens is you get a lot of air pressure build up there on the nostril, and if you did that, you would suffocate because you wouldn't be able to breathe. Okay, so that tubercle there breaks up that airflow and allows the bird to breathe as it's going through the high speed chase. They got talons, which you expect. They're really sharp, They can exert about 100 pounds per square inch of constriction, They have locking tendons, so basically once they grab onto something, they lock up and grasp it until they have to think about it. And how does a peregrine get its prey? Basically, what it does is it goes in that swoop, just like I described in that little reading, and balls up its feet and pounces on the back of the bird. Okay, so it knocks it out of the air, and while the bird is falling, it goes down, grabs it, and then carries it off to where it's going to go. I'm sorry, I had to change ducks.
There's a stunt duck.
Stunt duck, yeah, right. And so here he is. He's grasped onto his food and is tearing it apart. Now the appearance is basically the same worldwide. The adults are blue-gray, have blue-gray wings and back. They have bars on their belly, and the mask varies with the race. So this mask, this mustache, if you want to call it that, is different depending on the race of the birds. So this is the common one that we get around here. This is the tundra species that comes down from up on the Arctic area and comes down into, occasionally comes down through here. And this is also usually the one that the breeders have released, out here. So the tundra one here has just this black stripe that comes down here, and then you have varying amounts of white around here. In fact, sometimes you even get a white collar. And again, it goes back to the fact that a lot of these peregrines that we had that were released by the falconers back in the 60s, or was that 70s? I guess it was 70s. Were a mixed bag, so they were mixed in with some gyr falcons and some other stuff, prairie falcons. So there's a little bit of a mixture going in there. So it, basically reflects Americana. And this is an anatom. Okay, this is one that's found over on the Pacific Northwest area of Alaska, Oregon, and Washington State. And you notice that now the head is almost completely covered by this black hood. Some of them actually have black that goes up underneath the chin, so it's like a real mess. And these guys are a little bit more robust than the tundra ones that we get around here. And then there's peels. And this is peels, and it's found down in California down into Mexico. And this has got more of a light, more of a sooty gray area. And but we would very rarely see one of these unless it was an escaped falconry bird.
Huh.
Juveniles come brownish, stripes on their chest and belly, okay? And they usually make a lot of noise. So we're going to be seeing those guys coming up in June. Well, actually in May. Yeah, about May. Yeah, they'll be coming up. So they're all covered with feathers. I'm just going to go through the feathers real quick because you've gone through the feathers with me before. We did a thing on that. So you basically have the nice stiff feathers, the primary feathers, and so those are the ones on the wings and allow flight and the tail. You have contour feathers. Those are the ones that cover the body, and they provide protection from the wind also. They're the ones that allow the bird to fly in a streamlined condition. You got semi-plumes underneath that and in between these feathers, and then you finally have down feathers, which are used for keeping everybody warm and toasty, or maybe even cool off. So they're the ones that they fluff up and trap air and they keep the birds warm. And then you got these phyllo plumes. Those are important, and those serve a lot of different purposes. Primarily in these birds, the phyllo plumes are indicators of what the bird is doing aerodynamically. So they tell the bird whether he's going up, going down, going sideways, twisting, whatever. how fast they're going, how slow they're going, and so they're very important to the bird. So, okay, send the kids to the bedroom or whatever. We're going to talk about breeding, okay? Primarily, these birds, the peregrines, are monogamous. They stick together. They spend all the time together. The only time they do separate is or go away from each other. Well, in the winter time, they'll quite often go on their own little trips and go off hunting and that kind of thing. And they'll return back to the site in the springtime, so they have site fidelity. The only time that the partnership breaks down is when somebody doesn't become a good provider. Either not producing eggs, so to speak, not fertilizing the eggs, or not getting food, that kind of thing. So there are times when a pair will break up because and a better suitor might come into the territory and displace that one. So occasionally a female will come in, displace the female that's at the nest, or sometimes a male will come in and displace the male. So we've had several changeovers here in Fort Wayne, and we'll talk about that next week. So they have site fidelity, so they come back to the same place every year, and they usually come back about a month before the nest is made, and so they go through a courtship type thing of they're happy to see each other. They fly around. They do all kinds of wonderful things. One of the things that they do during courtship is sometimes the male will find a nice starling or something and bring it on up, and they'll go through a mating process. He'll drop it to her, and she'll grab it. So take her out to dinner, and then you don't know what might happen. And these are downtown, so here they're doing another exchange, And finally, okay, she's settled down. Okay, avert the kid's eyes now. And
don't
this
look,
is
Cheyenne.
Yes, Cheyenne, don't look.
Yeah.
So copulation takes place in a few seconds. It's called a coital kiss. So it takes about 2-3 seconds. So some of you know what that's all about. And they'll do this several times repeatedly. And so this will occur for days in advance of the egg laying, and of course the eggs don't get laid until they get fertilized. So you have to get and the eggs get laid one at a time and get fertilized one at a time. So it's Now usually they nest on cliffs or similar locations. So they'll lay. A female will lay between 2 and 4 eggs. How they know how many eggs to lay depends upon what they perceive as the amount of prey that's going to be available. The egg laying occurs about 48 hours apart. I don't know who put that extra A in there. Stuttered. So about every 2 days, another egg will be laid. So there's fertilization that occurs, then the egg develops. You already have the yolk in there. The egg itself, the ova, gets planted on top of the yolk. The yolk provides nutrition, and then so the fertilized ova gets on that, and then then you get the albumin around that, and then the shell around that, and it goes down through the various parts. The egg weighs about 52 grams, and for us other people, it's 1.8 ounces. Okay, so, and I know people ask, why are the eggs red? And that's a pigmentation that's added to the shell that actually strengthens the eggshell, so it can take a little bit more abuse. So, but basically, when you look at eggs, if you look at like white eggs, usually those are birds that have cavity nesters, if you will. The ones that have more open, like the robins and catbirds and stuff like that, have open nests. You'll see if they're blue or some other colors or speckled or a number of things like that. And that coloration actually adds strength to the eggshell, which is just calcium carbonate. So 4 eggs basically take about 20% of the female's body weight. So when she's finished, and the incubation of the eggs takes about 33 days, and That still looks wrong. Asynchronous. That sure looks wrong, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? I think I left
Yeah.
an N in there. Asynchronous. Yeah, I left out
Yeah,
that N.
right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes up for the A up above. So hatching is asynchronous. So what happens is, as soon as the first egg is laid, the first egg gets incubated, okay? And the female has a brood patch on her chest, and that basically generates about 100-degree heat. So that gets So what happens with the eggs is that the temperature of the egg is brought up to about 100, 102 degrees, and that is what they call setting the egg. And so if you guys ever try to raise chicks or something like that, that setting the egg is very important at what temperature it's set. If it's set too high, then there'll be some deformities. If it's set too low, there will definitely be some deformities in the resulting chick. So it has to be done just right, and it also may affect the sex of the chick. But I couldn't quite find anything that said yes or no. So anyways, the eggs hatch in the order that they were laid in, and they say that there's usually a delay between the third egg and the fourth egg. So it's a little bit further out, just in case. I guess that's to hold one in reserve. And that's a little scrawny little guy at the end. So here's a peregrine up here. Okay, has that nice little scrape here. She's got one egg. And here's one's got a nice nest in downtown Fort Wayne or someplace. And she's got her 4 eggs there. You can see this. She's got a nice little nest there. Actually, that wasn't Fort Wayne because that was a anatum. Okay. And then after they're hatched, it takes them about 40 days before they're up to fledging area. Okay. To the point where they can start leaving the nest and sort of fly around, that kind of thing. So it takes 40 days. So, so you figure that the hatching takes 33 days. This takes another 40 days. So it's 73 days. That's a long time,
It is.
So here's the little guys. Oh, yeah. Okay. And, they're so sweet looking. And dad mom bringing something home to eat. This thrills a lot of people. So she's bringing something home because somebody's the male or female's up above here. So, and they are aggressive defenders of the nest. As we find out when we go down there. So when we go down there, we put on our Carhartt jackets, our crash helmets, and goggles, gloves, and then it's even though they know that we mean no harm to them, they still give us a hard time. So they'll drive off all kinds of things like a bald eagle or something like that. They'll go after. So that's the peregrines in a nutshell. And bye, guys. Yeah, they're fast. So in conclusion.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
So we have some upcoming events. Some is open to the public, and some is in schools and things. So anyway, we have that's all the way out in April. So April 2nd, we're going to be down at Promenade Park. They're having a to-do down there. We got Earth Day coming up on the 21st down there, 24th of April. That's going to be at Eagle Marsh. Earth Day out at Lake Wawasee at the Wawasee Center for something or another. Anyway, so we're going to be out there. We're going to be at EcoFest Headwaters Park in May. And then we had Tin Caps at Parkview Field. We're going to be there with those guys on the 10th of June. River Drums in Headwater Park. We're going to start a series out there at Channel Lake State Park, the Sunny Shelter. So we're going to be there in June, August, and September on Thursdays. And we're going to be putting on a presentation at the Sunny Shelters. And we got the open streets there on Calhoun Street there. So that's on a Sunday in August. just when the asphalt's nice and hot and everything. And then we're going to be down there in Geneva for the Friends of the Limberlost, and we're going to be there at the Salon covered bridge, putting up. And we got some other stuff. I didn't have room enough to put it all in, but everybody started turning. We're going to be up there at Northwoods Village, talking to some of the retirees, Jefferson Township 4-H clubs. So we're going to be out there, putting some presentations on for that. Women in the Outdoors, that's something right here in Huntertown over there at the Isaac Walton. So you ladies, might want to sign up for that. Going to be out there. We'll show some birds, take some people out there early in the morning, do some bird watching, go down to the rifle range and shoot some beer cans and get the out there on the archery. Get there. I'm kidding about the beer cans. Gee whiz.
Oh, darn it. I already have my pew-pews out, though.
Your BB guns. So there's going to be a lot of stuff out there for you guys. We're going to be up there at the Goshen High School. Get there. I think we're going to get there with the biology classes. We're going to be down here at the Huntertown Elementary. And over there at St. Francis at the Eco Club on Earth Day.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be out there at the... and so we
fun.
got lots and lots of stuff that we're going to be doing. Right, okay. Didn't start. I want you. Gigi wants you. Okay, Soarin Hawk. So she wants you to come on out and volunteer. We have lots of openings, lots of things that people can do, and we have a lot of friendly folks out here. So anyway, so come on out. And she promises no more sit-ups, okay? And push-ups, maybe. I don't know, but anyways. No more. Okay, none of that.
No, none of that.
How about
Lifting weights, maybe.
And how about the push-aways from the donuts and stuff?
Okay.
No, no push-aways either.
That's voluntary.
That's voluntary. Okay, so come on out. We want to see. So go to our website, soarinhawk.org, and find out how you can volunteer to help. There's so many things that we can do. So, but if you want to help us out otherwise, you can adopt a raptor, get an adoption certificate. This is a virtual adoption, by the way. You don't have to take one of the birds home. Even though we have about 5 or 6 vultures that we'll put out. So we have get an adoption certificate, get an 8x10 glossy photo of your bird, and learn about the bird's history, its biography. There's the Soarin Hawk Raptor Adventure. All the snow is melted out here, and except for Victor and his friends running around the prairie, it's pretty nice. It's a little windy, a little cool.
It's chilly today.
It's a little chilly today, but it's Mother Nature. So come on out, see all the birds up close and personal. They'd be happy to see you. I think they really are missing seeing people.
Yeah.
I think that they really enjoy looking at people. They're building up their life list. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and don't forget, you can have us come visit you at schools, home schools, retirement groups, community groups, scouts, churches, retirement homes, birthdays, weddings, Eagle Awards, block parties, baby showers. If you have something going on, we can come and visit.
Yep.
7 days a week.
Even if it's a whole lot of nothing.
Yep.
We'll come.
And we can do it indoors or outdoors. Okay. Our birds are very versatile, aren't you guys? Yep. Don't forget Amazon Smile, and so I know that you guys have to get your new spring duds. So be out there spending money on that kind of thing. So help us out, make us your designated charity. Community rewards from Kroger's. We all have to eat, and even though it's getting a little harder to eat anymore, so so we're down from the steaks down to bologna sandwiches, aren't we? Yes, we are. So anyways, go. If you have community rewards, get that little card that they give you that they scan every week. Sign up, okay, as our designated charity, and some of the money that you spend there will go back to us. And don't forget, Jeff, Aaron, Poe need fish. But be careful out there on those lakes. They thawed out a little bit, okay? And I've heard some reports of some people have had to go out there and rescue some dogs and stuff that have fallen through the ice. So if dogs are falling through the ice, there's not very much ice there. So so be careful out there. Bring the fish to us, and we can sure use them. Help. Okay, now it goes. So that's us. But if you stay tuned, I got some really nice pictures of birds from downtown. There's one of our guys downtown. Oh, yeah. That's a nice picture. What are you saying? Usually hear them down there. Yeah, you can be down in the parking lot and you can hear these guys calling. Oh, yeah. So, my favorite place to go is go to the Burger King down there on Wayne Street. And you can look back up, or it isn't Wayne Street. What is it? It's gee whiz, Jefferson, I guess it's Jefferson.
Oh.
Okay, and you can sit there. You get the booth, and you can watch right up there. Really? So you eat your burgers, and you watch the Falcons flying in and out. Or if you're lucky, like Abby is, she has an office right up there in the PNC building, and she look right straight across and watch them. And I was talking to the people that were here on Saturday. The girl's mother has an office up on one of those places, and she says there's nothing more interesting than to watch a peregrine feeding on your window ledge.
I bet. That's wild.
Anyway, so our peregrines are down there. They're back, so go down there and keep an eye out for them. Okay, and we'll talk more about our downtown peregrines next week. And I'm going to go away this time. Really? Okay. Wow. Oh, look at that. I ran 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes over. Okay. So if you guys have another topic that you'd like to talk about, I can do that. So I'm going to see you guys later. And hopefully we get a peregrine someday. But on the other hand, I don't want any injured peregrines.
Yeah, I know.
So.
Right, Cheyenne?
So I'm going to say goodbye. Bye, right. Cheyenne.
Well, let Cheyenne say goodbye, too. She's been sitting here patiently.
Yeah, she's watching the whole thing.
Watching everything.
I don't know what she thought about it.
Yeah.
What'd you think there? You're going to give me a tail wag, huh? Going to give me a tail wag?
Like, nah.
No.
Nah.
Come on, wag your tail for me.
Nah.
Come on, wag your tail. Tail wag.
I don't think so, Bob.
Tail wag. No, okay. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.